Chapter 30 Dawn to Shirdi, Kakaji Vaidya of Vani, Punjabi Ramlal of Bombay. In this chapter, the story of two devotees that were drawn to Shirdi are narrated. Preliminary. Both to kind Sai is the adobe of mercy and is affectionate towards his devotees. By his mere darshan, he does away with the fears of his bhava, that is samsara, and destroys the calamities. He was first nirgun, that is formless, but on account of devotion to his bhaktas, he was obliged to take a form. To give liberation, self-realization is the mission of the saints, and for saints, the chief of them, the mission is inevitable. Those who take the refuge in the feet of all their sins are destroyed, and the progress is certain. Remembering his feet, Brahmin from holy places come in search and read scriptures and chant the Gayatri mantra in his presence. We who are weak without any merits do not know what bhakti is, but we know this much, that though all of us may leave us, Sai Baba won't leave us. Those whom he favors get enormous strength, discrimination between the unreal and the real, and knowledge. Sai fully knows the desire of his devotees and fulfills them. Hence they get what they want and are grateful. So we invoke them and prostrate ourselves before him. Forgetting all our faults, let him free us from anxiety. He who, being overcome with calamities, remembers and prays Sai, thus will get the mind calmed and pacified through the grace. This Sai, the ocean of mercy, says Hemadpant, favored him, and the result of this is the present work, Sai Satcharitra. Otherwise, what qualification has he who would undertake this enterprise? But as Sai took all the responsibility, Hemadpant felt no burden nor any care about this. When the powerful light of the knowledge was there to inspire his speech and pen, why should he entertain any doubt or anxiety or feel any anxiety? Sai got this service in the form of book done by him. This is due to the accumulation of the merits in the past birth, and therefore he thinks himself fortunate and blessed. The following story is not a mere tale but a pure nectar. He who drinks it will realize Sai's greatness and all-pervasiveness. Those who want to argue and criticize should not go in for these stories. What is wanted here is not discussion but unlimited love and devotion. Learned, devout, and faithful believers are those who consider themselves as servants of the saints, will like and appreciate their stories. Others will take them to be fables. The fortunate bhaktas of Sai will take and find the Sai Leelas as Kalpataru, that is, wish-fulfilling tree. Drinking the nectars of Sai Baba will give liberation to the ignorant, jiva, satisfaction to the householders, and sadhana to the aspirants. Now to the story of this chapter, Kakaji Vaidya. There lived in Vani, Nasik district, a man named Kakaji Vaidya. He was a priest of goddess Saptashringi there. He was very much overwhelmed with the adverse circumstances and calamities that he lost peace of mind and became restless. Under such circumstances, one evening he went into the temple of the goddess and prayed unto her from the bottom of her heart and invoked her aid to free him from anxiety. The goddess was pleased with the devotion, and the same night appeared to him in his dream and said to him, "You go to Baba, and then your mind will become calm and composed." Kakaji was anxious to know from her who that Baba was, but before we could get any explanation, he was awakened. Thus he began to think as to what might be that Baba to whom the goddess asked to go. After something, he resolved that Baba might be Triambakeshwar, that is Lord Shiva. So he went to the holy place Triambak, that is Nasik, and stayed there for 10 days. During this period, he bathed daily in the morning, chanted the Rudra Homam, did the Abhishek, that is pouring unceasingly fresh cold water over the Pindi, that is stones dressed as gods, and did other religious rites. But with all that, he was restless as before. Then he returned to the place and invoked the goddess again. That night she appeared in his dream and said, "Why did you go to Triambakeshwar in bed?" "I meant by Baba Sri Sai Samarth of Shirdi." The question before Kakaji was how and when to go to Shirdi and how to see Baba. If anybody is in real earnest to see a saint, not only the saint but also God fulfills his wishes. In fact, the saints and the Anant, that is God, are one and the same. There is not the least difference between them. If anybody thinks that he will go himself and see saint, that will be a mere boast. Unless the saint wills it, who is able to go and see him? Even the leaf of the tree won't move without his bidding. The more anxious a bhakta is for his saint's visit, the more devout and faithful he is. Then the more speedily and effectively is his wish successful to his heart's content. He who invites anybody for a visit also arranges everything for the reception, and so it happened with Kakaji. Shama's Woe. When Kakaji was thinking his visit to Shirdi, a guest came to him at the place to take him to Shirdi. He was no other than Shama, a very close and intimate devotee of Baba. How we came to Vani at this juncture we shall see. Shama was severely ill. When he was very young and his mother had taken a vow to his family goddess Saptashringi at Vani that if the son got well, should bring and dedicate him as a sweet. Then after some years the mother herself suffered much from ringworm around her breast. At that time she again took a vow to a deity that if she got all well, she would offer her 2 silver breasts. These 2 vows remained unfulfilled. At her deathbed, she called her son Shama to her and drew his attention to the vows, and taking a promise from him that he would fulfill them, she bred her last. After some time, Shama forgot about this vows, and thus 30 years elapsed. About this time, a famous astrologer had come to Shirdi and stayed there for a month. His predictions in the case of Sriman Bhuti and others came true, and everybody was satisfied. Shama's younger brother Babaji consulted him and told that about his mother's vows, which his elder brother promised to fulfill at the deathbed, were not fulfilled. Hence the goddess was displeased with them and bringing troubles to them. Bapaji told him to his brother Shama, who was then reminded of the unfulfilled vow, thinking that any further delay would be dangerous. He called a goldsmith and got a pair of silver breasts prepared. Then he went to the masjid, prostrated himself before Baba and placed it before him, the 2 silver breasts, requested him to accept him and free him from the vows as he was him is Saptashringi goddess. Then Baba insisted upon him to go to the temple himself of Saptashringi and offer them in person as the feet of goddess. Then after taking Baba's permission and Udi, he left for Vani and searching for the priest came to Kakaji's house. Kakaji was then very anxious to visit Baba and Shama went there to see him at the very time. What a wonderful coincidence, isn't this? Kakaji asked him who he was and where he came from, and on learning that he came from Shirdi, he at once embraced him, so overpowered with his love. They then talked about Sai Leelas, and after finishing the rites of Shama's vows, they started for Shirdi. On reaching the place, Kakaji went to the masjid, fell at Baba's feet. His eyes were soon bedwelled with tears and his mind attained calmness. According to the vision of the goddess, no sooner did he see Baba, his mind lost all the restlessness and became calm and composed. Kakaji began to think in his mind, what a wonderful power is this? Baba spoke nothing. There was no question or answer, no benediction pronounced. The mere darshan himself was conducive to him. Happiness. The restlessness of my mind dissipated by his mere darshan. Consciousness of joy came upon me. This is what called the greatness of darshan. His vision was fixed on Sai's feet and he could utter no word. Hearing Baba's Leelas, his joy knew no bounds. He surrendered himself completely to Baba, forgot his anxiety and cares, and got undiluted happiness. He lived happily there for 12 days and after taking Baba's leave, Udi and blessing returned home. Kushal Chand of Rahata. It is said that a dream which we get in the small hours of the morning generally comes true in the waking state. This may be so, but regarding Baba's dreams, there is no restriction of time. To quote an instance, Baba told Kakasaheb Dikshit one afternoon to go to Rahata and fetch Kushal Chand to Shirdi, as he had not seen him since long. Kakasaheb accordingly took a tanga and went to Rahata. He saw Kushal Chand and gave him Baba's message. Hearing it, Kushal Chand was surprised and said that he was taking a noon nap after meals when Baba appeared in his dream and asked him to come to Shirdi immediately and that he was anxious to go. As he had no horse of his own nearby, he had to send his son to inform Baba. When his son was just above the outside of the village border, Dikshit's tanga turned up. Dikshit then said that he was sent specially to bring him. Then they both went in the tanga to Shirdi. Kushal Chand saw Baba and all were pleased. Seeing his Leelas of Baba, Kushal Chand was much pleased. Punjabi Ramlal of Bombay. Once a Punjabi Brahmin of Bombay named Ramlal had a dream in which Baba appeared and asked him to come to Shirdi. Baba appeared to him as a Mahant, that is a saint, but he did not know his whereabouts. He thought that he should go and see him, but as he knew not his address, he did not know what to do. But he who calls anybody for an interview makes the necessary arrangements for the same. The same happened in this case. The same afternoon, when he was strolling in the street, he saw a picture of Baba in the shop. The features of the Mahant he saw in the dream exactly tallied with those of the picture. Then making inquiries, he came to know that the picture was of Sai Baba of Shirdi. He then went soon after to Shirdi and stayed there till his death. In this way, Baba brought his devotees to Shirdi for darshan and satisfied their wants, material as well as spiritual. Woe to Sri Sai, peace be to all.